Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Nothing brings a neighborhood together like catching a scammer in the act. When a supposed gas rebate auditor tried to trick residents into signing shady contracts, one neighbor spotted the red flags, stepped in, and turned the tables before anyone could get trapped. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Ruining a scammer's day. Earlier today, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, I found a woman standing there with a clipboard, wearing a badge and a lanyard that looked pretty official at first glance. She introduced herself as being from a company that audits natural gas suppliers and said she was going door to door to check if customers were being billed the correct state-approved rate. She told me that if I showed her my gas bill, she could verify whether I was being overcharged, and here's the hook, sign me up for a 5% rebate if my rate was incorrect. At first, I was tempted to believe her. The badge, the clipboard, the pitch, it all sounded legitimate enough. She was very polite and professional, not the stereotypical pushy scammer you might expect. But then I noticed the online form she wanted me to sign. I took a closer look and saw that it wasn't a rebate form at all. It was a contract. I immediately told her, "You know what? I'd like to review this before signing anything. Can you send this to me in the mail?" She smiled, said sure, and walked away. But something about the whole exchange left me uneasy. As soon as she was gone, I sat down at my computer and Googled the company name, which, let's just say, rhymes with Schmesidence Denergy. The very first thing that popped up was a Better Business Bureau warning that this exact company had been scamming people by switching their natural gas supplier without their knowledge and locking them into higher rates, sometimes significantly higher. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my shoes, stepped outside, and sure enough, I spotted the same woman just a few houses down, standing on my neighbor's porch. The wife was already holding her gas bill and had a pen in her hand, clearly about to sign. I didn't even hesitate. "Don't sign that!" I yelled across the yard. "I'm your neighbor, and that's a scam!" The wife froze mid-signature, looked at me, then back at the woman on her porch. A second later, the husband appeared behind her, and after I explained, he marched straight to the door and kicked the scammer off his property. By now, I was angry. I followed the woman as she walked down the street to where another woman, apparently working the same scam, was talking to another neighbor. I stayed about 30 feet behind them and called the police, giving the dispatcher a detailed description of both women and what had just happened. As I was describing them, I saw them both pull out their phones and start talking quickly to someone. Not even a minute later, a white van came speeding up the street. The driver leaned out the window and shouted, "Hurry up and get in! You walk too effing slow!" Both women bolted and scrambled into the van. Before I could get a good look, the van suddenly threw itself into reverse and backed all the way down the street at high speed, clearly to avoid me catching the plate number. I relayed everything to the dispatcher as it happened. She told me they were sending a patrol car to the neighborhood immediately. I don't know if the cops caught them. Those scam crews are slippery. But I felt good knowing I'd at least saved one of my neighbors from getting tricked into a predatory contract. And now the entire street knows what to look out for if that van ever shows up again. If nothing else, we made it clear they picked the wrong neighborhood to run their scam in. It's good to establish a neighbor WhatsApp group so you can alert each other after the person leaves your house and before they get to the next house. And our second story. A customer who didn't know who she was yelling at. This happened over a decade ago, back when I was managing a specialist bra fitting shop. Retail's a special kind of hell, but this story still warms my heart every time I think about it. It was a busy weekday lunch rush, and I was manning the change room desk upstairs. My job was to take bookings for fittings, fetch different sizes for customers, and keep an eye on the 10 fitting rooms. Basically, I was running around nonstop. That's when she stormed in. Let's call her Karen. Karen marched up to me and demanded a fitting right then and there. I gave her my best customer service smile and explained politely that all the fitters were booked for at least the next hour or two. I could help her as best I could while juggling the other rooms, but if she wanted the full one-on-one service, she'd have to come back later or tomorrow. That was apparently the wrong answer. She launched into a rant about how busy and important she was, how she had made a special trip, and how it was outrageous that I couldn't drop everything to cater to her. I just kept apologizing and calmly repeating that there was nothing I could do. Every fitting slot was full, and no, I couldn't pull other staff away from their booked customers. Eventually, she stormed out, still muttering insults under her breath. 5 minutes later, one of the cashiers called upstairs. "She's down here," the cashier whispered, "and she's telling everyone you were rude to her and swore at her. She's demanding to see the manager." Now, this is where it got fun. I was the manager. At the time, I was 24, but looked about 18 on a good day, so Karen had no idea she'd just been yelling at the boss. I saw red for about 2 seconds. She was trying to get someone, what she thought was just a shop girl in trouble for doing her job. Then I realized this was an opportunity. I took my sweet time, smoothed my hair, fixed my shirt, put on the biggest, most professional smile I could muster. Then I walked down the stairs as slowly and dramatically as possible. Karen's face when she recognized me was chef's kiss. I went into full manager mode. "I hear there's been a complaint," I said sweetly. "Can you describe the girl who was so rude to you? That's very concerning, and I want to make sure this is addressed." Karen turned crimson. She looked from me to the cashier to the other customers who were now openly staring. I kept the innocent, professional smile plastered on my face, just daring her to double down on her lies. She couldn't. Her jaw worked like a fish, gasping for air, but nothing came out. After a very long, very awkward pause, she turned on her heel and left without another word. I don't think I've ever felt such pure satisfaction as I did walking down those stairs, knowing exactly how that scene would play out. She wanted to see the manager. She sure did. And our next story. Welcome to Mendy's. Please hold while we explain reality to you. Hey all, I operate a drive-thru in the Wild West, living the dream in Arizona. Things are hectic here at Mendy's, but it's been admittedly a little more so, and in a very different way since a certain brand of the devil's lettuce became legalized. Like people are straight up wandering around the valley looking like they just landed on planet Arizona, not knowing the basics of life. I mean, I'm having to explain toilets, doors, water bottles. "Oh, you gotta twist it, bruh. Gnarls." And especially the drive-thru. It's like Idiocracy come to life. And we got a crew of Luke Cunningham Wilsons and Maya Rudolphs trying to make it through our day. Last night, another one of these aliens entered our airspace, so I approached with my usual greeting, one of two possible. "Hi, welcome to Mendy's. Please hold on a second and I'll be right with you." It's policy that we must greet the car within 5 seconds, preferably 3 of them setting our bell off when they drive close enough for their window to reach the speaker. So if we're busy with a previous order or orders, we'll greet them and have them hold. Well, this wasn't cutting it for this car full of Dax Shepherds. As soon as I told them to hold, they were, "What? What the F? No, oh, you talk to the other guy, man. I swear, bruh. Tell me what's going on right now, man. What's going on? Don't say no more words till you tell me what's going on right now, man." Wow. Just friggin' wow. This was a peppering of words fired at me Nerf style by the entire car of people. It was hard to say who said what, but I applied my MC to all of them, spray and pray style. "Well, sir, you're currently in a drive-thru of an Arizona Mendy's. By pulling your vehicle up to our speaker, you're entering into a social contract where I listen to what food you would like to order from our restaurant and put that into our system so our amazing chefs know what to make for you. Sometimes I don't have time to take that order with immediacy, so I'll tell you to hold on until I'm ready to enter your order. I can only enter your order when I'm standing within reaching distance of the POS and when I'm logged in. If I've told you to hold on in about 30 seconds or less, I will then take your order. Do you understand? Great. Now hold on while I figure out what's going on with the previous order." Then they're responding, "Oh, no effing way, all of that, and I still have to wait. You could have taken my order already. We're out of here." I try to reply as I hear them peeling out, "Sir," but it was too late. They hit the car in front of them. They were so pissed that they forgot how stupidly high they were. They literally rammed the car in front of them. They both had to pull forward, but the car in front refused to move because they didn't want these guys taking off. It shut our drive-thru down for an hour and a half. Our lobby was rocking. The kids each, all 4, got arrested, 3 in handcuffs, 1 with his parents. It was a melee. One kid wound up getting hauled off after everything, car was towed, and the other kids wound up in tears at the end of it. The mental image of them, wide-eyed and confused, getting hit with, "You've entered a social contract," is pure gold. You turn their paranoia into a civics lesson. Glad to hear they were arrested. I have no sympathy for someone who operates under the influence and gets caught. And our last story. $2 million? Make that entire company. This story still makes me grin whenever my dad tells it, because it's the perfect mix of patience, planning, and absolute legal savagery. Years ago, my father, who owns one of the most prestigious law firms in our country, was hired by a major, well-known company. We're talking household name, a company with deep pockets and a lot to lose. They were facing government fines so large that if they'd been enforced, the company would have gone bankrupt overnight. My dad and his team worked tirelessly for months, and thanks to his legal strategy, he saved them tens of millions in penalties. When the dust settled, the company owed my father's firm around $2 million in legal fees. It was a lot, yes, but it was more than fair for the scale of the work, and frankly, they would no longer exist if not for him. At first, the company was polite. They told him they'd settle the payment soon and just to be patient. My dad, being the reasonable man, agreed to wait, but then weeks turned into months. His calls stopped getting returned. A year passed. Not a single cent was paid. And that's when my father stopped being patient. See, my dad is an exceptionally smart man and a lawyer. He knows the law inside and out. And he also knows how powerful interest can be when you let it grow. Instead of chasing them desperately, he did two things. One, he calculated exactly how much they owed with interest and let that figure grow. Two, he quietly put a plan in motion to make sure when he finally struck, he'd hit them where it hurt. He sent one of his associates, a very sharp, charming attorney, to befriend the company's owner. It wasn't a fake friendship either. This associate really worked to get close to the guy. Over time, he earned the owner's trust, and eventually they started discussing finances. One day, my dad's associate casually dropped a bombshell. "You know, I still have a few friends in the government. There are whispers about a tax evasion investigation targeting big players in your industry. If I were you, I'd consolidate your assets, make sure everything's in the company accounts, safer that way if someone comes looking." The owner, who apparently wasn't as clever as he thought, took his advice. He emptied his personal accounts, all of them, and transferred everything into the company's corporate account. That's when my dad made his move. After one last attempt to contact the company and being ignored yet again, my father filed for an embargo. For those who don't know, in my country, an embargo allows a creditor to seize assets, money, equipment, property, whatever, to satisfy a debt. And because of how long my father had waited, plus the accumulated interest, the amount he was legally owed had ballooned into a figure so big it shocked even the court clerk. The result? The majority of the company's stores were seized. Their accounts were frozen. Their assets were legally in my father's control until the debt was satisfied. When the embargo order hit, it was chaos for the company. Their lawyers, the few that were still willing to work with them, couldn't even get paid because the accounts were frozen. Suppliers refused to deliver product, customers saw the news and panicked. Their stock price tanked overnight. And my father? With the money he recovered from those now frozen accounts, he went one step further. He bought the rest of the company's shares at a massive discount thanks to their collapsing stock value. By the end of it all, my father owned the majority of the company. He installed his trusted associate, the same one who had befriended the owner, as the new CEO. Together, they turned the brand around and rebuilt its reputation over the next few years. The original owner? He was completely ruined. He couldn't pull his personal money back out of the company without triggering charges of embezzlement or tax fraud. The little he had left went toward desperately trying to keep the business afloat, while my father legally dismantled his control piece by piece. The man who had once been untouchable went from living in a mansion to being, by all accounts, nearly homeless. My dad still says it was one of the most satisfying cases of his career. He didn't just get paid, he turned a deadbeat client into a profitable investment. Most people would have been on the phone every week begging for payment or threatening lawsuits. Your dad let them dig their own grave, let the interest snowball, and waited until the perfect moment to strike, when all the money was right where he needed it to be. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.